Maybe the real danger to a healthy spiritual life isn't the obvious stuff. Maybe it's all of the small things that we keep nudging into tomorrow because it feels less harmless today. The writer of the Hebrews cuts through that delay with one single word: today. He writes, "Encourage one another daily so that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." The warning's not super dramatic, but it is incredibly practical. Hearts don't harden with one decision. They harden through quiet postponements that never feel urgent in the moment. I once knew a guy who put off repairing a tiny leak in the ceiling above his front porch. Honestly, it was barely noticeable. It's just a faint line of discoloration. He kept saying he would deal with it when things slowed down, but things never did. And so months later, the storm rolls through and the whole section of ceiling just gives way. He told me afterwards it never felt urgent until it was. That's how spiritual erosion works. It doesn't shout, it waits for your delay to give it space. When God puts his finger on something in your life, it's not irritation, it's protection. He sees where the crack is heading. Not every crack becomes a collapse, but every collapse begins as a crack. Ignoring it doesn't freeze the problem, it feeds it. And here's the deeper issue: delay actually feels like control. You tell yourself you'll obey when you're stronger, more rested, more steady. But obedience pushed off long enough becomes obedience abandoned. Your heart shrinks a little each time, not in a dramatic fall, but in the slow loss of sensitivity to God's voice. So here's the question for today. Ask yourself honestly, what have you been postponing? Not the dramatic failures, the small nudges, the conversation you keep dodging, the habit you rename so you don't have to confront it, the step of faith you keep telling yourself you'll take when life calms down. You don't need to fix everything today. You just need to stop pretending that later is a strategy. Grace doesn't meet the version of you that you hope to be next month. Grace meets you right where your feet are. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me before the noise today. And don't forget, God isn't calling the future version of you. He's speaking to you right here in this moment. And he speaks with a voice that proves he loves you more deeply than you could possibly imagine. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.